around the world. My name is Anna and I'm here in Venice on the last day of the workshop on SET, PET and Advanced Energy Methods, and I have here with me Steve Wells.
Hey.
Thank you for joining me.
No worries.
Just to let you know how much I've enjoyed the workshop so far.
Great.
It's really good, and just want to start off by finding out a little bit about your history with tapping and why tapping is what works for you.
Okay, well, tapping actually itself works not just for me, it works for just about everybody. So, you know, people often say, oh, different techniques work for different people and some techniques only work for some people. Tapping, in my experience, tends to work with just about everybody. So in my practice, you know, something between 97 and 98.5% of people who come in are going to get some relief from tapping. Now, if you told me that 15 years ago, I would have said you're crazy. But anyway, I'm convinced by results. And I probably never would have looked at tapping if it wasn't for the fact that a friend of mine, who is a clinical psychologist, he and I were chatting, and we were talking about phobias, and he said, oh, you just do this thing where you tap on these body points. And I was like, what? Are you crazy? Anyway, he's a fairly conservative psychologist, and I thought, well, if he's interested in it, then it might be worth having a look. And at that time, he had brought back Gary Craig's videotapes, which were on VCR, old technology. And I watched them, and I was very impressed by what I saw, because I could see that the people were getting better. And one in particular, like when Gary was working with the Vietnam veterans and the war veterans, I was very impressed. And so, because I was working with groups of Vietnam veterans at the time, and then I thought, well, okay, that's fine, but can I use it? So I tested on my wife.
Right. And
because she I had to try it on somebody. She was having a blood test the next day, and she had this kind of reaction to having needles.
Right.
And so we did the tapping, and I could see that she was more relaxed just from doing it once. And I said, let's do some more, and she said, you're not going to get me to do that crazy thing again. But then she went and had a blood test, and she didn't have any problem. So next day I tried it with a client, and the result was fantastic. And so from then on, I just basically went with the results.
Excellent. Yeah. And you're obviously quite results driven, because you get in it. So, and understand that you are completing quite a lot of research in the area to demonstrate to other people that tapping is getting the results. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, I probably need to do some tapping, because doing research work is frustrating. You have to jump through many hoops, you have to standardise everything, but this is what the field needs to convince the professional people. So I was fortunate enough to do the first controlled scientific study on EFT.
Yes.
And that was very effective for treating phobias. And unfortunately, since then, there have been a fair few studies done, but only a few really good studies. So I, in frustration, essentially, went back to the university and said, let's do some more research. And I've been involved in some research there. And also, because we've developed the SET, we're doing some research on that.
Excellent.
So I've been doing some research. At the moment, we're replicating a study on food cravings using the EFT, and we're also using the SET, and we're also comparing it to the normal traditional treatment of cognitive behaviour therapy.
Excellent. Yeah. Okay, so you've got sort of three groups. You've got the SET group, an EFT group, and a regular
CBT group. And we've got a waitlist, which is a control group, and then and the results so far have been excellent, though that's been compiled at the moment. But before this, I did a study with some master students on motor vehicle trauma, and we gave them 2 treatment sessions, and all those people got better. It's very, very rewarding.
Got better completely, or?
All of them got better significantly, and most of them got better very, very significantly.
Wow.
So that they weren't even showing a lot of the signs of, they weren't showing very many, or some of them weren't showing any signs of post-traumatic stress disorder.
Wow, it's very impressive.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing that you see every day when you use the techniques, but you need to do studies to convince the skeptics.
Fair enough.
And also to show that the techniques actually stand up to scrutiny. So, you know, you have to actually have randomisation, you have to have controls, you have to have them assessed by people who don't have a investment in the outcome. Like I'm a bit of an evangelist for tapping.
Yeah.
But it's very important that be assessed by people who are not me. You know, I can certainly be involved in doing treatment stuff, but anyway, so.
Absolutely. And you do workshops on coaching for success with what we call, it's called regular business people. And how have you found that, because I'm sure they're probably one of your biggest skeptic categories, how have you found that they have embraced the tapping?
Okay, well I've now done tapping with so many groups. I have a fairly good idea about how to introduce it. In some groups it has to be introduced more slowly. So yeah, people in corporations and particularly people in senior positions, they have many people trying to get them to do lots of things, and then certain people, for example, you know, your chief financial officer and those kind of people who like to be in their head, they're not going to be straight away taking on board a body technique. So really what I do is I integrate that as part of a program, and I offer them a range of ways of dealing with issues, and tapping is just one of them. But the results are always so good with tapping that then we can go further with it. And there is just so many applications. And you know, in the corporation you can come in many different ways. You know, we went into one organisation to help them to learn presentation skills, all of the senior people, because after the global financial crisis, they were going to have to do all of their own internal training rather than get people from outside to do it and so on. So they weren't very skilled in this. Also, they were anxious about speaking in public and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Most people are to some extent.
Yeah, sure.
So, with the, I guess one of the things you mentioned in the workshop is your work around accepting that you don't accept yourself.
So self-acceptance, I work on that.
Is this, could you just explain, if we just assume that everyone understands the basic of EFT, that even though I love it, you know, I have this problem, I love and accept myself anyway.
Okay, well that's part of EFT, is that you do the setup statement and you start with tapping here and you say, even though I have this problem, I accept myself. Now, we don't use that anymore with SET, we just work on the problem. And if there's self-acceptance issues, then we end up working on them anyway. Yeah. And there's lots and lots of ways of doing that. But when you say a statement such as, I deeply and completely accept myself, most people do not accept themselves. And so that brings up the problem, and then the tapping actually helps to harmonise and balance and lead you to different places. So you can specifically focus on the parts of yourself that you don't accept, you can focus on your negative beliefs, you can apply tapping to those in lots of different ways, and you can really get some huge shifts.
And if there was one thing that you could communicate to anyone that had just found tapping and wanted to make the most of it, what would you be sharing with them?
I would say that forget about trying to be clever, forget about having to search for deep issues, just learn the points and do the process of tapping on them on a regular basis. And if you just do that and nothing else, then your stress will come down and your life energy will come up. And we found that continual tapping process of just tapping each day just to clear the energy is fantastic.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
No worries.
That's all for today. I'm here with Steve Wells in Venice, and thanks for joining me, and I'll talk to you soon.